So late last night, Marcus Rashford on social media released an article to Manchester United fans about who he really is and where his head has been throughout the season. This also gave Man United fans a lot of insight on Marcus Rashford and a bit more on a personal level about him as a person. In this video, we're going to be reacting to that article and actually discussing about what our opinion is of Marcus Rashford, and is it a PR spin by his media team because of his poor performances, or is this genuine Marcus Rashford wanting to reach out to Man United fans to know and understand him a little bit more? But as always, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below on what your thoughts are on Marcus Rashford. Now, before we get into the article, I am going to be honest, I have been heavily critical of Marcus Rashford this season. We've made countless videos talking about why his form has been dipping, about how he should be dropped, and that's at the moment, and last week especially, I made a little YouTube short saying that why we should be getting rid of Marcus Rashford, which at the end of the day, you could say that's a bit rational from someone like myself who can maybe kind of jump to conclusions. But realistically, Marcus Rashford has never been a world-class player, in my opinion. I think he's always been a great player, and he's definitely a good player. It depends on how you value and credit players. And for me, Marcus Rashford has always been a good player and has always shown glimpses of being a great player, but he's never been a consistent great player. And last season, he was a great player and was showing glimpses of being a world-class player. But last season is really where this is all accumulated from, because last season Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals in all competitions for Manchester United, as well as getting 11 assists. He had an outstanding season for Manchester United under Eric Ten Hag's first season with Manchester United. But at the end of the day, it is this season we need to be talking about. And Marcus Rashford this season just hasn't delivered, which is the really disappointing factor, because we saw what a great form he was in last season. The thing is though with Marcus Rashford is what is actually going wrong with him. Obviously in this article we're going to be understanding Marcus Rashford from a personal perspective, but so many fans like to accuse him or make assumptions of Marcus Rashford, like they're experts on body language, or that they can read people's minds, or they can tell what's going on about his relationships and how much money he's on and how much he wears and how much cars he's got. Marcus Rashford is probably very pissed off. Like, at the end of the day, I can understand why, because at the end of the day, he is a very privileged footballer. He has the brand, he has the name, he has the club. And the fact he's also a Manchester lad, that just probably increases the popularity and reputation he has at the club. You know, he should understand what it means to be a Manchester United player. And that's why he's probably received so much criticism from fans throughout the season, because it just looks like he can't be bothered anymore. And from a fan like me, I'm going to give my opinion now. Personally for me, from what I've saw, Marcus Rashford, his contract was almost going to expire. And last season, he just hit the ground running. And it looked like he was playing for that contract because he loves Manchester United and wants to start his career at Manchester United and end it at Manchester United. But at the end of the day, with Marcus Rashford, this season, he just hasn't delivered. And that is the fact. I am going to look into the body language. I am going to look into the emotion. I am going to look into the certain celebrations when he has scored goals as well. Marcus Rashford is not completely innocent in this entire season, you know. There has been times where people have doubted him because of Sancho. There's times because during pre-season. We made a video at the start of the season, during pre-season, that did Marcus Rashford have an underwhelming pre-season? The answer was yes. Something has happened with Marcus Rashford where he's just burnt out and he's having an off season. But realistically, when we saw Marcus Rashford, so many people are so reactionary to and just want to jump into the latest news and slating players. Players can have really bad form. I mean, look at Virgil van Dijk. He went through almost a career-ending injury. Now, I hate Liverpool, but you've got to look at Van Dijk's situation, for example. Jordan Pickford snaps his legs in the Merseyside derby. Van Dijk was out for that season. He then came back the following season and was terrible. Didn't look like the same player. And then now the previous season, which was last season, we saw him getting a bit better, but Liverpool was still not at their strongest. And this season, Virgil van Dijk is probably back to his best, probably back to being one of the best centre-backs in world football. And that just shows players can have off games. Players can have an off season if needs be. And maybe that's the case with Marcus Rashford. And unfortunately, we've got to deal with it because Manchester United are playing terribly at the moment. But if it's not Marcus Rashford, it's Bruno Fernandes. If it's not Bruno Fernandes, it's David De Gea. There's been so many previous seasons where players have stood out because they're the best player in a poor performing team. Look at Rasmus Højlund. Before he got injured before that Fulham game, 7 goals in 6 consecutive games after not being able to score a single goal in his first 14 Premier League appearances. He hit the form running, and then everyone automatically loved Rasmus Højlund, and everyone talked about what a great player he is. Sometimes players go through poor form, and that's it at the end of the day. But we need to now talk about Marcus Rashford and his article. So in the article, Marcus Rashford first starts it off by talking about how he doesn't normally respond to certain situations with media outposts, with social media tags, all that jazz. He turned around and also calls himself an introvert, which for someone who also claims to be an introvert like myself, I don't really like to go to the clubs. I'd much rather prefer a cosy night in with the wife, or I'd prefer to go to the pub with my mates. I don't really like the likes of the party life, you could say. Marcus Rashford claims to be an introvert here, and we've seen him so many times this season, been out clubbing. I mean, look at the Belfast situation where he got dropped for the Newport game or the game before that because he was in Belfast and he lied about having an illness, but it was because he was in Belfast the previous night. An introvert to me is someone that isn't about the party life. Now, Marcus Rashford could be a lot more introverted than someone like a Jack Grealish, who likes to dance with 2 bottles of Heineken in his hand, thinking he's like Homer Simpson or something like that. Marcus Rashford just seems like a very calm and nature type person, let's call him. But with this article, it talks about his backstory. It talks about how much him and his mum struggled, about how they'd have to get multiple buses to get to training and stuff. Marcus Rashford has probably had a very tough childhood, let's say, obviously with the likes of the poverty, with the likes of his mum being, let's say, poor almost, and really struggling as a mother to try and help Marcus Rashford for his footballing career. And with Marcus, I just think he's a genuine good person. I think he's a genuine good player as well. I just think he's in a bit bad of form. But at the end of the day, it depends on how other people see it. For me, I have taken a massive setback with this Rashford situation. Some people are claiming it to be a PR spin. Some people are genuinely taking this as this is what Marcus Rashford's feeling and we should stop giving him so much shit. That is what it is at the end of the day. You've got 50-50. It's the people that are frustrated with the entire season and they're now taking this out on Marcus Rashford because he's now apparently trying to spin United's heads because of this whole situation. But Marcus Rashford, what happens if he goes and scores the winner against Manchester City in the derby on Sunday? What happens if he goes and scores the winner against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup at Old Trafford and gets the winner? We progress to the semi-finals or the finals at least. And then let's say, for example, in the FA Cup, he goes and scores the winner in that competition, or he scores the winner to secure Man United getting top 4. Marcus Rashford could be that player. And the quality is definitely there and we should not ignore it. We saw how good he was last season. I honestly say, this is just me saying this now because I've really changed my mind since seeing this whole Marcus Rashford article and reading it properly. I felt like I was actually hearing the player. Now, some people might be like, well, he paid someone to write this and he just told them what to include and stuff. There's I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of connection that I've now feel more towards Marcus Rashford. We've got a personal insight on a player, which United fans are completely out of the loop with players on their personal lives because, United is a massive club and every single United fan wants to know more about these players. But all we can do is judge what the players are on the pitch. And at the end of the day, Marcus Rashford hasn't been good enough this season when he set the standard so high last season. But at the end of the day, I personally believe let's just stop giving Marcus Rashford so much stick. It might be PR. It might be. It might be just so he is not getting as much stick for the rest of the season. But at the end of the day, Marcus Rashford finishes off his article with, "If you're with me, good. If you're against me, even better." It's a very clever way to end it, because he wants to prove his haters wrong. He wants to. He appreciates the support that he gets from the loyal fans, but it's the fans that doubt him and it's the fans that slag him off, you could say, that he wants to prove wrong, and that will give him a bit more motivation to show why he is going to be back to his best. If Marcus Rashford finishes off the season with 15 goals in all competitions, I think right now, on what I currently know, I think he's got 6 goals in all competitions this season. If he finishes off with another 9 goals, you could probably say it's a revive of a career for a season, you could say. But I think it's all about next season. Maybe Rashford's really down. Maybe Rashford doesn't, after carrying us last season, maybe doesn't have enough will strength. It's all if, buts and maybes. And all we have to go off is Marcus Rashford's so-claimed words in this article. But I personally believe, let's just give him time. I back Eric Ten Hag. I back Marcus Rashford. And you know what? I back every single player at Manchester United because I want Manchester United to be back on top. Yes, there are things that I would do if I was manager. But I'm not the manager. I'm just a fan who talks into a camera and gives his opinions like other people on the internet. But if you made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments down below on what your thoughts are on Marcus Rashford. Leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. And just remember, leave your comments in. I'll reply to every single comment because I want to know every single person's opinion on this Rashford situation. But anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.